Hey, what's up, people? You already know why I'm here. You know how to read. So, how to be more creative. You know, I I feel like I've been creative my whole life, and there's one piece of information, the last thing that I'll say to you that I think is the biggest factor in your creativity. But anyway, let's go down the list. Number one, expose yourself to many cultures, genres, categories, whatever, foods, all of that. That's one thing that I can honestly say has made a big impact in my life. Ever since I was little, even though people made fun of me, I would listen to rock. I listen to Backstreet Boys, country, blues, and of course rap. I would listen to all those things. And if like you are a rapper, I would advise you to take to expose yourself to different genres and then take what you learn from those many genres and bring it to rap. It's going to give you your own unique style. You'd be surprised how many rappers actually do that. And there are a lot of artists influenced by rap who take that and they incorporate it into rock. Pick somebody. Because hip hop is the most influential genre anyway. But this isn't about hip hop. I'm just saying that you should expose yourself to, as a wide variety of content, of culture. Just to, show to yourself that the world is much bigger than you once believed it to be. That's why we do these things. That's why we read so much. We want to see the world from many perspectives, because you never know which perspective maybe end up giving you the most life. So number 2, intermittent fasting. I could make a video about this, but I have practiced intermittent fasting for over a year and a half. I stopped, but it was more of a gut feeling that just made me want to do it anyway. And something that I like to do when I get a gut feeling about something is that I like to research it and get myself hyped up about it before I fully engage, because I don't just want to do something for the sake of doing it. And oh boy, with all the health benefits that I read about it and actually experienced, boost testosterone, can slow down your metabolism, which can also help you in gaining weight and building muscle, anti-aging properties, all those things. But it boosts your creativity. And I wanted to research further, recently, as to why I felt like I was so productive and creative, man. Because I was like writing a lot of poetry. I was writing a lot in general, but I was writing a lot of poetry and I didn't get writer's block. That's one thing that I noticed. And so what happens is intermittent fasting increases brain cells and it produces a protein called BDNF, which plays a role in neuroplasticity, makes the brain more resilient to stress, adaptable to change, boosts your memory, improve mood, and most importantly, it increases learning ability. Okay? And as I've said many times before in life, and probably in one of my videos, is that when you learn something new, it meshes with information of old and creates even more information. So as you begin to do that, it forces you to experiment, think outside of what you've already been doing. Because let me tell you something. If you like to write music, write a book, whatever you like to do, whatever creative thing you like to do, here's something that I always try to do. And obviously nothing new under the sun, but I try to, write a piece of work that I've never heard before. I try to write something I never heard before. Create something that I never seen, or put my own little spin on it and things like that. Like 50 Shades of Grey is fan fiction for Twilight. Okay? You see how successful that was. No matter if you think the writing was good or not, it just goes to show. When a new idea meets with an old idea, it can make a brand new one. It just makes a baby. So that's just something to keep in mind, whether if it's on subject, off subject. But anyway, intermittent fasting. Okay, so definitely do your research on that, man. There's a lot of good stuff that comes along with that, not just boosting creativity, man. I know you see me, I look pretty young. I'm 28 years old almost. People think I'm much younger. They think I might be 21, 22, things like that. And it's not just because I'm black. I know that has something to do with it, but anyway, number 3, meditation. And I know that I've already said this in a couple other videos, but just hear me out, okay? Through the art of meditation, it eliminates some of the clutter. It puts you in a position to think freely, and again, think outside the box. Really focus on your options. Really sit down with it. Really sit down with what's been bothering you. What's the world's problems, what's your problems, and again, how you can solve them. Which would bring me to number 4, that's journaling. Okay? I like to jot down all my ideas, just empty myself out. Just try to, like, for instance, because I'm working on a fiction novel, and I'm not the type of person to plot per se, but once I got a couple scenes going, I start to write down, okay, what's next? And just throw a bunch of potential ideas of what could happen next. And I'm always surprised at what I come up with when I just start jotting things down. Like, nothing has to be perfect, man. Brainstorming is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be adventurous. It's supposed to be you exploring your mind, exploring what can be. Taking things to new heights. Okay? Like, I know you want to get straight to it and you want to jump, cut corners and all that, but you're doing yourself a disservice. Plant these seeds by putting them on paper, and then, you have them sitting around for X amount of time. You go back to revisit it, and you're like, whoa, okay, I got something for this now. I can tie this with the information I was just learning. Yada yada yada. That's why I don't like to leave anything to chance. I don't like to just say, oh, I'll remember it later and things like. Write down your ideas, okay? Every little idea. Like, these ideas, they can take on a life of its own. I'm only telling you about, from experience. Okay, so it's really important to jot down your ideas and to journal and to, clear your mind. So number 5 is to try a different approach to everything. Okay, so if you drive with your right hand, try driving with your left hand. Steering with your left hand. Open the doors with your left hand, or your opposite hand, I should say. Which is a creative practice in itself, is just to use your opposite hand. But yeah, just take a different approach. Or in sports, if you're, let's say basketball, if you're a score first type player, let's see what happens when you get other people involved. You take that approach to life. If you're the type of person who's very self-serving and you didn't fill yourself up, but you still feel a bit incomplete, see what happens if you put others first. If you actually try to talk to a stranger, if you switch your routine up, and see what happens if you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Just things like that. The experimentation. It's fun to experiment, and I do that quite a bit, so I can really stick my neck out and say that, and you'll learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about the world, because as you start doing new things, you'll start researching things related to that, and you get perspectives from people who have been indulging in such lifestyles, far longer than you, for decades. So then you get to practice your discernment and take from here and there, and all of that. Let's see, where we at? Number 6. Always look to do new things. I just spoke on the approach. Find a new approach. Now, that's along the lines of pretty much the same thing, but this is doing new things, separate from what you've already been doing. Like, of course, you always wake up, and then I say you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now this is to do something that you never really done before or hardly ever done. So if you don't jog, maybe you could give that a try. Play chess. I will always recommend that people should start playing chess. And I believe that if you play chess, that you can outthink most people. It doesn't matter if you're among the elite, you can outthink most people. And at the very least, you're going to be thinking steps ahead, which is good for you. If that isn't a good enough sales pitch, I don't know what is. But this video isn't about playing chess. It's about boosting creativity. And guess what? Chess does that too. It forces you to think a little bit longer. Focus on your best moves. And then right when you think you got that best move, see if there's a better one before you actually make that move, before you pull the trigger. That extra couple seconds you take before making a better move than the one you decided on will make all the difference. Okay? Let's see what we got. Number 7. This is a big one for me. I think this sets me apart from most people my age. And that's don't let the inner child die. Always get in touch with your inner child, okay? Be playful, frolic, explore. What if? What if in a magical way, really? It may sound pretty funny having a 28-year-old adult say that, but magical, Especially if you got kids. I got a daughter now, but if you got kids, you're fortunate enough to be able to live through them in a way that's healthy, that's fun for them, is be very much explorative, and you get to engage them when they get to make up their little stories like you did when you were a child. Because I know I used to do that a lot. I have brothers, but little brothers, but I used to spend a lot of time, playing with my Hot Wheels and my action figures and making up nice little storylines for them, And that imagination in me has never died. I've always been geared toward those things. And I watched a lot of television that made me explore my imagination. Now, I kind of grew out of watching a lot of the fantasy television and all that, besides like Game of Thrones or something like that. But I mean more so from a Disney perspective, So I'm not necessarily taking that approach, but I'm sure that I will be right back to it as soon as my daughter gets old enough to start watching those things. There are going to be times where I'm going to be, I'll be watching them too. And I'm sure that I'll get a kick out of it. Sometimes with my stepson, I watch some of those imaginative videos as well, like movies. Like what was that one with the animals sing? I thought that was pretty cool. But always, get in touch with your inner child. And I feel like once the inner child dies, so have we in a sense, Because adult life is nothing without the inner child. We have nothing to hold on to. It's our inner child that's holding on to dreams, that helps us maintain, some innocence, some bit of purity, And it's not a corny thing. You don't have to be a goddamn soccer mom or a soccer dad, You can very much be who you are, whether if you got a lot of grit or what have you, whether if you live a party life, still get in touch with that child. The child will save you. The child will help you create a fate that you couldn't otherwise imagine. It'll help you stay youthful. Help you stay optimistic and bright-eyed. Okay? It's really important. Okay, so number 8. And, this is the first video basically that I made and it blew up. And I don't know the women version of this, but for men, semen retention, okay? Now, I didn't go deep into my research as to why you're more creative when you retain your semen, but here's what I do know. I know that your semen is pretty much your most precious fluid, or let's just say it is precious fluid, okay? And all your genius is in this. That's why you feel like a complete dumbass when you squirt it out. I feel like you're starting all over because you pretty much are. you know? And your sperm reaches maturity at, 100 days or so. When was the last time you let your sperm mature to 100 days? I know for me, it hasn't been that case since I was about 12. And I'm almost there now, and so I'm definitely feeling the benefits of it, you know? And I feel like everything is possible at this point, you know? And it pretty much just rests on my shoulders. It's either I'm going to make something happen or I'm not. But I can't speak on lack of creativity being the issue. All right? And let me just tell you something. You know, you can consider this a bonus or not, but this is me wrapping it up. Okay? If you want to know how to be creative, you're not going to find it by following the pack, okay? You're not going to realize or identify your true creative strengths by thinking you have to please the masses, because people are always looking for somebody to follow. The masses are always looking for somebody to follow, like a flock of birds, okay? And although most people will go for a mediocre life, pay attention to who they're chasing, who they're following after. They're following after people who are unique in their own right. Lady Gaga, Sia, look, even Migos, you know? People just, what's new, what's fresh, what's hot, whatever it is. So don't get lost in the fact that you feel like, you know, nobody's paying you any attention or whatever, you're weird and all that, whatever. Weirdos are always trending. Always. It's always the weirdos trending, you know? And, you know, it's passed off as cool, but always trending, okay? Like, let's take Game of Thrones, for example, because it's breaking so many records, okay? Who wrote Game of Thrones? George R.R. Martin, okay? His books are a smash hit, and so is the show, obviously. I just said that. You look at him, you can tell. He is and was a nerd, a geek, all of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. He was being himself, and it paid off. So be yourself, and it will pay off. Explore who you are, and build on top of that. Look at things from your own unique perspective, and that is how you will win, okay? So have a good one, guys. I hope you got something out of the video. The first time I'm going to say this, like and subscribe. You've been giving me a lot of love, and I want more, because I'm going to be giving you a lot more, okay? So thanks a lot.